Hi everyone and welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about a movie. This movie is called Josee, the Tiger and the Fish. This movie is one of the most beautifully animated movies I have seen in a very long time, and today I want to talk to you about it. Mostly I would like to talk about the disability representation found throughout this entire movie. And just a spoiler, they did it right. Just a little thing before we jump into it, there are going to be spoilers. So without further ado, let's hop into it. This movie is based on a short story by Sayako Tanabe, and it was originally released in Monthly Kadokawa in June of 1984. This also has a 2003 movie adaptation, which we are not going to get into here. I've seen a trailer for it and have thoughts on that on its own, but we're not going to get there today. This premiered at the Busan International Film Festival in late October 2020, then was released a week later at the Tokyo International Film Festival, before getting its actual release within Japan on Christmas Day of 2020. Then the rest of the world got it in 2021. This movie was directed by Kotaro Tamura, and this film was created by Studio Bones, most notably known for Full Metal Alchemist, My Hero Academia, Noragami, Bungo Stray Dogs, and Ouran High Host Club. So we're going to start off with some likes. So one like we're going to start off with is that this movie is totally gorgeous. I mean, visually it's stunning. Whether it's the ocean scenes or just the character models, it is beautiful. And I didn't know what to expect coming into this movie. I didn't know whether or not it would hit as hard as it ended up impacting me, because there are some things this movie does that, one, break my heart, two, warm my heart, and sometimes I wish that there was just a little more of. One of the things I'm going to touch on first is early on in the movie when Josee has her dream sequence, her underwater dream sequence with the whale. Not only is this scene beautiful, but even though it's a dream, it's of her being free. It's of her not being confined to the wheelchair. And as a wheelchair user myself, that is something I really love and appreciate. So when Tsuneo and Josee first meet, it's not a pleasant meeting. Josee has been pushed by someone down a ramp, a steep incline, and Tsuneo is walking past and attempts to help. This ends up having Josee come out of her wheelchair and land on Tsuneo. I don't necessarily like what comes after that little scene. While I do get it, it's like wrong place, wrong time, trying to help, and it's just a rocky start. Tsuneo, who lives nearby, gets invited in by Grandma, and then gets a job offer from Grandma, which I do like. The fact that he initially starts off with getting a job as her caretaker. That's fine. At first it's a little rocky, but after Josee goes missing one day and he finds her, they strike up a bargain. Instead of taking her back right away, he takes her to the ocean. So he takes her on this trip. Okay, so I travel at the Transport Network here in Sydney, and it's really similar to what goes on in the movies, except in Osaka. The staff at the train station help in getting on and off was a very nice touch. But there's a scene even within this that people just seeing someone struggle and not helping them, or inconsiderate people not watching where they're going and blaming you for it. There's a line she says within this movie called, "They're all tigers." I find the interaction in the train station to actually be more informative, because the guy who actually bumps into her bumps into an older lady within the next second, and while he gets berated for that, it actually creates a bonding moment for Tsunayo and Josee. The fact that these two may not get along at the moment, but Tsunayo is doing everything he can to make sure that Josee has a good experience. It's because someone is giving her the opportunity to explore, because her grandmother doesn't let her go out. They both have a laugh about it, and on this train trip, it's when you start to see their bond forming. I think it's precious. This movie is just precious. As someone who uses a wheelchair to actually get around, I reckon this movie captures it perfectly. I mean, I live in Sydney and this is set in Osaka. They're two very different cities with very different layouts. But the way the staff at the train stations actually help is the same. Regardless of probably where you are in the world, I don't know. So they end up getting to the ocean, and eventually, after her stubbornness of trying to get down there herself and her chair getting bogged in the sand, he carries her over to into the water and lets her experience just having fun. So this ultimately leads to them being co-conspirators. Josee forms this plan to sneak out when her grandma's taking a nap. And they go all over the place, which they think they're getting away with. But you find out a little later that grandma knows what's going on. She's seeing these two bond. And I really love that since Tsunayo came into her life, she's actually experiencing more and more things. Whether it's him teaching her how to cook or finding a way, he makes her a stool and makes that stool to her height so she can reach the countertop. The fact that a man within her age range is actually teaching her how to live despite her disability is gorgeous. There's a little skateboarding scene within the house after one of their adventures, and I just think it's cute. He tries to help her find another way around, and while in the end it may end up be with her falling, it's still an experience that sometimes you need to think outside the box to get around. And they get a skateboard, and Tsunayo actually tries to help her get around her house, because like me, she kind of like she tries to do a crawl and a bum shuffle type of thing, like a scoot. So the fact that they try out this skateboard is actually fun, and until she has her little fall on it, she's enjoying it. So another little journey they take is to the library. This is where Josee meets Kana, her other friend within the film. When she's getting her library card, Kana and Josee talk. At first, Josee's a little shy because it's someone new. These two girls bond over the same author and end up becoming friends because of it. I don't know how to describe this movie and not just get all giddy about it, because this is beautiful. And seeing the way grandma reacts to the two of them is actually quite funny. So when these two eventually do actually become a little more friendly with each other, her demeanor changes and she becomes happier and more full of life, and grandma can see this. And for one moment, can we please acknowledge that this young lady has an awesome fashion sense? I love the outfits that they put her in during this entire movie. They're so beautiful, and whether it's her white top, aqua skirt, or her yellow scarf, or later in the movie she wears a black top and a aqua colored dress under it. And this is when Grandma starts to notice things, because she's putting a little more effort into her appearance. She's doing her hair. She's gussying herself up for a day on the town with her friend. And it's just beautiful. I mean, this whole interaction when Suneo comes to pick her up, she gets in a chair and they leave. The look on Grandma's face says it all. To wrap things up, let's go over my overall thoughts for this movie, shall we? I don't think I've mentioned within this video that this movie obviously cuts deep. It is way too close to home, and while I wasn't sure I'd be able to deal with it, that there would be tears at the end of it, which there were, but I think this movie just encapsulates everything perfectly. I think this actually has a better grasp on disability and how it feels than most other media that I have come across does. This movie made me feel seen. This movie warmed my heart, and more people need to watch it. To end things off, I'm going to recommend a YouTube video to you by a channel called Beyond Ghibli. This channel has done a video on Josee, the tiger and the fish. It is more of an analysis than what I have given you today. And with all that said, I hope you have a beautiful day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.